I will pass over to Martin from Rainbow.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Delighted to be here with our new friends from Turner Pope. Timing is fortuitous indeed as we got the announcement out this morning. Thank you, James and Tim, for their hard work. Some of you have seen me present before. We've been a listed company for just over 2 years. But for those of you who haven't, I will go into the very basics of what rare earths are. Some of you may have seen some of the reams of press coverage about rare earths in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to tell you why they're exciting. I haven't done chemistry for about 30 years, but I remember the periodic table. The bottom but one row are called the lanthanides, and there are 15 elements there, plus 2 further up, scandium and yttrium. Together, those 17 elements are called the rare earths. They're commonly found together in the ground, and there's an old cliche that says rare earths aren't rare, but what is rare is the ability to find them and deposit. And I'll come on to tell you in a second, but there aren't that many mines around, particularly outside of China. That makes us exciting for a start. What do they go into? Well, look at the top left there. Lots of people are excited about lithium and nickel and cobalt because electric vehicles are coming. There's no debate. Even me, who's the latest of late adopters, I've got an electric vehicle at home. The UK has talked about 2040 for us phasing out combustion engine vehicles. It's going to happen far, far sooner than that. Who's going to buy a combustion engine vehicle knowing it's going to be outlawed in a few years? And that's just us, the UK. Every other country around the world is pushing electric vehicles. So you're aware of the battery materials. What doesn't get talked about so much is the fact that every electric motor has a great big magnet in it. Every electric vehicle is going to have a rare earth magnet because those are the strongest. Particularly featuring, look along the road there, PR and NV, praseodymium and neodymium. They go into the strongest magnets. Every electric vehicle is using about 1 to 2 kilos more of neodymium and praseodymium than a normal car. And that's putting on top of the uses at the moment, whether it's in speakers, your window button going up and down, your steering wheel going up and down. Magnets are used in everything, wherever there's a motor, or even headphones, computers, hard disk drives, smartphones, wind turbines. There's a lot of demand coming for these things. There's not a lot of near-term supply. We are producing it. Imagine some of the press coverage. If you're keen investors, you'll have seen it. It's been everywhere. Bloomberg, Reuters. They're even crazy enough to get me on Sky News to talk about it a couple of weeks ago. Why are these things driving demand, driving interest? It's because China controls most of the processing, most of the mining of rare earths. And as well as all these gadgets and cars and things, they also have critical uses in industry and the defense. The US Defense Department is highly, highly alert to securing their supply of rare earth materials for some of their production, some of their consumables in military uses. If China controls these things and there's a ratcheting up of the trade war between China and the US, that's going to create problems for the Western world. Increasingly, the Western world is looking to develop its own supply chain outside of China. Our mine is outside of China. We could be an incredibly strategic player in any development of non-Chinese supply chain. I talked about electric vehicles. There are not just NGOs and lobby groups pushing these things. There is a worldwide international agreement to push electric vehicles to reduce emissions. There is something called, at the bottom left there, the Clean Energy Ministerial, which is a conglomeration of countries, not just bureaucrats. This is China, US, EU, Brazil, and huge economies clubbing together to push EVs. If they have their way, they'll get us to 30% EVs by 2030. But even the slowest forecast, you see there, the bottom line on the line graph, the gold one, that's going to drive, say, between 1 kilo and 2 kilos of extra per car. Look at that material change in demand for NdPr, either at a slower rate or a much faster rate. It's just going to 30% EVs by 2030. Think of the extra demand that is coming down the pipe, and there isn't a lot of near-term supply. So what are we doing? Rainbow is the only rare earth mine currently operating in Africa. We're in a country called Burundi. There's a big map of Africa there on my screen. It's disappeared. You can find it. Burundi's in East Africa. Our license area, 25-year mining license, it's just an hour and a half drive from the capital city and the airport. We've been blessed with the geography. We haven't had to build a huge camp in the middle of nowhere, although logistical challenges, quite considerable ones, have been overcome. In just 2 years, we built a mine. I want to show you some pictures of that in a second. But you know, we're a small mining company. We've done a hell of a lot to de-risk this project. We're pretty much the only international or Western mining company in Burundi. As such, we are the flag bearers for an industry they want to develop. We are pretty much needing export dollars into the country. The government has a 10% stake in the project. They want us to succeed. We get on very well with the government, with the people. We created 300 jobs, well or no jobs. And so, whereas in lots of other countries around the world you have opposition, you have problems, we've actually had a fantastic reception in Burundi. Our investment dollars are welcome. I mentioned we've been listed just over 2 years. I have heard every reason for people to say no to putting money into this project, whether it's a private company and a public company. Burundi risk, foreign currency risk, customer risk, production risk, mining risk, all those things. We have de-risked across the top there. We've built a mine, we've built a plant, we've trained a workforce who've never mined before, we've produced a product that hadn't been produced out of Africa for 35 years. We found customers, we've sold it, we've got dollars in and dollars out. All those things we have done. What we haven't done is yet made a profit, and we're going to do that very soon. With the raise today, and I'll come on to explain a little bit more about that on the later slides, we are going to invest in the ground, increase production. We've got more demand than we can possibly satisfy at the moment. Our customers want more product, and we are going to invest to produce that product. By opening 2 new mining areas alongside the 2 we've got operational so far. I'll come to you about this, but bottom right, there's a hell of a lot more we can do with our asset. We want to do more. It's almost the more we look, the more we find. I'll come on to the license area now. That red shape is our 39 square kilometre mining license, and that is covered in dots, as you can see. All of those dots are our discoveries of rare earths. Now those are discoveries at surface. We only did our first drilling of this project in the second half of last year. We IPO'd, we got into production, we mined and we sold without even having a JORC reserve or resource, because these veins are over the surface. Great big, thick veins, visible to the naked eye. We can mine very easily, no drilling, no blasting, no explosives. This is free digging, and we extract high-grade ore that we crush through our plant and export. A very simple upstream product of mineral concentrate. We've divided the mining license area into 28 prospects. As I say, we're mining in 2 pits. We're opening number 3 and number 4 with the new investment funds. That leaves another 24 to come. So we've got a conveyor belt of new production areas to keep supplying this high-grade, rare vein reserve. And we've announced as part of the prospectus that's coming out next week that our competent persons have upgraded their estimate of tonnes in the ground. So our, what they call exploration target is moved from 27,000 to 103,000 tonnes, up from 20 to 80. So even the midpoint there, so an increase of 30% in 2 years. And that's been verified by us mining and taking the stuff out there. They've gained more confidence from what we've done and the fact that when we're in the pit, we find more veins than we knew were there at surface. And then, whilst this has always been a very low volume, high grade story, which means we've built the mine for less than $10 million, we can move low volumes. What we've also found, and this was with the drilling last year, is actually potentially much larger, huge volume, potentially millions of tonnes at lower grades. And ironically, that makes us a bit more like rare earth deposits elsewhere in the world that are in development, need money, no visibility yet on whether they're going to be mined, but it could be transformational for us. But alongside an upside as to what we're doing at the moment, which is, and I stress, low volume, high grade vein mining. And just to give you an idea, there's our first pit. It's more like an open quarry. We're not going underground, we don't have huge infrastructure to get under there. What we're doing is effectively taking down a hill. Think of a hill is almost like an upside down open pit. That hill will come down, and we shift waste from the hill into the valley, and we'll leave a flat area when we finish them. Decide we may have another 12 months left, maybe more. We'll keep going whilst it's economic. But what we leave behind, actually, because the room is incredibly green, and this will green over within months, is a much better agricultural area than You can see people growing crops on the side of slopes here that we wouldn't send hill walkers up on the Dales or wherever in the UK. But it's pretty sparsely populated, as you can see. We have no opposition. We don't have big compensation costs either from local people. It's almost a market privilege for local people to receive the compensation which we pay in accordance with all local laws and customs, and it's a rigorous process we go through, and having now been through it 3 times, we've got it working very efficiently. I said we've got a plant. 2 years ago, where I was yesterday at the plant, let's say May, July, it was a bare patch of earth. That's Lake Tanganyika. You can see in the background there, about 200 metres away from the lake. Very safe, no runoff, no water coming out of the lake, nothing going into the lake. We've all been signed off from an environmental perspective. But we built that processing plant from scratch, a field to a plant by the end of 2017, and it's working beautifully. The oil comes down the hill to the front end, and as I say, it's very simple, gravity separation. And that just means we keep the heavy stuff, we shake off the light stuff that we don't want. That's how we get our concentrate. We ship effectively bags, 1-ton bags of crushed rock. They go onto trucks, and we drive that to the port of Mombasa where we sell it. We have one customer, and our one customer, a bit like the finance guys were talking earlier, having a relationship with a huge company when you're a little company is a fantastic seal of approval. We are partnered with the German conglomerate ThyssenKrupp. They make steel, they make lifts, they trade every single commodity you can think of. They are our buyers, and they on-sell our product to customers around the world. We have a fantastic cash flow basis because we drive to the port of Mombasa, TK buys from us, and we get 90% of our cash within 5 days. So we're not waiting for ships to go around the world. We're not reliant on flaky creditworthiness of customers we might not necessarily know. So as a small company, the process works really well. The seal of approval we have had by working with ThyssenKrupp, if we wouldn't have got us this far, we wouldn't be an IPO, we wouldn't have found the investors we've got. So it's a great relationship. They, as I say, have found customers who have more demand of them than we can possibly satisfy. And we hope to do that with the new money by growing the company. The pie chart in the top left there is interesting. I mentioned NdPr. You can see the sort of browny and the silver. The top left there of the pie chart. About 19% of our mix of rare earths is the NdPr. But crucially, that's over 80% of our value. That's why the customers are buying our concentrate, because that's the valuable material that goes into magnets. Cerium and lanthanum, the big chunks there, they do have value. Cerium is used in glass making, glass polishing. Lanthanum is used in bulk for fuel cracking and refining. And they do have values, but let's say cerium and lanthanum go for $2 a kilo, NdPr goes for about $50 a kilo. So there's a massive disparity between the relative values there. And it's those magnet materials that drive the relative value. So we've raised money. Why do we want to raise money? We want to invest in the ground. I said we de-risked a lot of things. We got some things wrong, and we've taken that on the chin. What we did wrong, we didn't buy enough fleet. We rented in Burundi some local fleet. Now Burundi, as I said, has no history really in mining. It doesn't have a Caterpillar dealer down the road that we can pick up stuff either new or second hand. We were renting trucks, effectively the road to the trucks. They don't work in the pits. They don't work at all when it rains. What we're using the money for is to buy a new fleet of 6-wheel drive mining trucks that allow us to work 24/7, shifting waste. Because we shift the waste, as you saw in the picture, to access the veins, and that's what we mine. But alongside the trucks, we're buying some more excavators and the bulldozer and grader, all the things we need to develop our pits bigger and quicker to get more tons out. And we want to go from 2 pits to 4. We've identified number 3 and number 4, but we've also identified number 5 and number 6. There will be a conveyor belt of these pits. So we always have 4 operating at any one time. These are veins. This is not like really drilling for oil or drilling for bulk commodities where you have a hole and you can work out a block model of grade all the way through. The veins do vary. So from month to month, pit 1 might have lower tonnage and pit 4 might have more. By having more phases there, you can mitigate that inconsistency. You can keep that flow of ore going to the plant. So that's what we mean on this for. In the main, but what else we do? I talked about the upside of this resource. We know about the high-grade veins from the 28 areas. One of them in particular, and there may be more, was very successful drilling, actually, our first ever drilling campaign at a hill called Chienti. Now this was a hill, have a look at this picture, this one here. Very big hill. At the bottom there, we found some huge boulders of pure rare earth veins. Now, you don't get boulders at the bottom of the hill by accident. They've eroded from further up and haven't been carried there. So immediately that made the hill interesting. We undertook what's called a ground gravity survey, where a machine, a radar machine, walks in straight lines, testing the density of what's underneath. And some of you who followed the company for a while will recall we announced this late 70s and said it was worth drilling. We did in 2018. And what we found here is not the same high-grade vein stockwork. What we found is a large mineralized area of rare earth veins. Now it's lower grade, but many more tons. And we're going to do more work here. We're going to do some more testing of our drill core from last year, because until this point, we'd only ever thought about veins and identified these veins visually and sent off samples where we could see the vein material. It was only late in the day with the last 3 holes, effectively. We tested all the core and we found rare earths throughout the rock, totally different to the veins, and this is why it's so exciting. So that's part of the raise as well, to do more exploration across the puzzle. Just a summary there of the numbers we announced this morning, as you just heard. I always think in dollars, apologies, but share prices in pence and in pounds we raised about £4.3 million. At 3p, we have an EGM in 2 weeks' time to approve it by the shareholders. And Ian mentioned earlier about management with skin in the game. It's hugely important, I totally agree. Out of the $5 million, our board of management is putting in about $1 million, which means we totally believe in this project. I've been with the company 5 years, taking it through private raises, found us a group, negotiated that agreement, we got the mining license, we IPO'd 2 years ago. Effectively, we're a startup. Don't forget, we've been a startup for 2 years. But some things right, some things wrong. I think what we've learned from, we're now putting right. And this is a fantastic platform now, especially at the share price, to take it forward. In any company, I think it'd be great that you layer on top the excitement of rare earths. You don't have many opportunities to invest in rare earths. I think everybody should have some exposure. You can't do it in many ways. We're the only producing mine listed here, certainly. There's only one listed in Australia. Other than that, you're looking at China, and that opaque market controlled by the state. There's every chance the West will develop a non-Chinese processing chain. We're a mine that's ideally situated to do that. Future plans, as I say, grow production, grow concentrate, do the exploration to add on top, that's upside. Learning from mistakes, that's just efficiencies. We can do things better. We know we can. But we're just operating trucks more efficiently, working more hours, working the plant better, and then just recovering things that metallurgists do. Playing around with feeds and speeds through the jig, all those things that can just produce concentrators more quickly, as we can say. And I barely touched on the bottom left point there, because I think it's upside on top of upside. Bear in mind we're selling a very simple product. The oil and gas guys will talk about upstream to downstream. In mining terms, we're upstream. We take out rock, we crush it, we sell it. If you're thinking diamonds, you've got a rough diamond at the mine gate, you've got a polished diamond in Tiffany's. Rare earths are the same. Our mineral ore has to be processed, it needs to be cracked in chemical terms, and then separated into those elements you saw at the start of the periodic table. Rather than selling our concentrate, what would be fantastic for us would be to control the means of separation, processing our concentrate further. And we've announced various strategies and studies already to look at the economics of building our own plant. Again, this can be part of a non-Chinese processing chain. As I say, it's not this year. Our focus is on getting to profit in the next 6 to 9 months with the new money. Then we can think about the upside and drilling. The upside is all the things we do in the future by moving downstream. So we think that's exciting. There's a lot to look forward to. I think I've said this. Rare earths are exciting for all the reasons we know, both the commodity and the global tensions from US and China. We've got a huge deposit, and cliche to say we barely scratched the surface. We've got these 28 areas that we think will all be pits. We declared our first JORC resource in December on just 4 of those 28. The grade of our deposit, these veins are coming out at over 50% consistently. The other development companies typically you see around the world have grades in the ground of 2% to 5%. 6% of their life. We're very, very different. Because those grades are so high, we've been able to get into production. So in mining terms, very, very long. And talk about electric vehicles, talk about wind turbines. These are green uses, green credentials. This is almost the greenest mine in the world, just digging stuff up and selling. As I say, no blasting, we've got no acids, no chemicals, no poisonous tailings. And in a world where consumers, and by consumers I mean the producers, Apple or BMW or Volkswagen, were buying these things, they increasingly focused on provenance. Where are their metals coming from? Our child miners in the DRC digging out their cobalt, and our rare earth producers in China poisoning watercourses and lakes with all this black sludge that you see terrible photos of. Well, again, we can put a gold star on ourselves there. This is green, and we can certify our production is done to the highest standards. And then the final point, geographically, we're outside China. It can only become more important in what is a very critical moment. Thank you for listening.
In terms of expansion, would you just focus on Burundi or would you go to neighboring areas?
I would say yes, we would. We're bullish about rare earths. There are projects around the world, as I say. At the moment, I think my belief is our biggest bang for our buck is putting every dollar we raise today in the ground, for what we know. By definition, I don't think there's anything quite like what we've got. So if we took something else on, it would be early stage, and would be improving up, and then perhaps we're in the situation where we have one of those typical projects that needs 100, 200, 300 million to turn into a mine. But having said that, I recognise we're a single asset company, and diversification is a good thing. So we're open.
Would you do that like outbound power?
I don't think possibly even sooner than that. We're aware of some of the opportunities we're looking at.
You spoke a little bit about your existing shareholders and how supportive they've been. Obviously, this new initial raise at 3Ps, rebasing the company somewhat. Can you maybe give a little bit of flavour to how those relationships have been established and why they're continuing to follow their money and being so supportive and how they feel about this new raise?
That's a good one. Let's do board of management first. Our chairman and founder is a chap called Jonas Perulis. Some of you may know he's chairman and founder of Petra Diamonds. He comes from a mining dynasty. His father and his brother run a company called Teresa, which is also listed here. So Adonis' reputation, his family's reputation, he's pretty successful. He's put a good chunk of the money in this raise and founded the company from day one. He loves to get into mining projects early and take them forward to a point where they're trapped outside investment. Alongside him, obviously, our board or shareholders put real money in. But I think what's important is we've taken money today from new investors, but also guys on the rest of it who backed us both privately and in the IPO raise and subsequently. So I think it's always good, obviously, to open a register to new people. I think it's a testament to the fact that we've got a project here that people love, but they follow it.
Clearly, there's still a huge opportunity there, given that you're still trading around the placing price. Can you remember the IPO price?
Of course I can.
I think even if you miss the opportunity of replacing, there's a great opportunity there now.
Well, I would say this, we're cheap, as much. We IPO'd at 10p. As I say, we've made some mistakes, and I think we've learned from those mistakes. 3p, I think, is the bargain. We have been, even in the last 15 months, as high as 20p. The rare earth stocks can move very
Thank you. Have you had any interest from larger companies or other strategic partners in your project? It just looks so attractive. I'm sure it must have popped up on the screen over the last couple of years.
Yeah, we talked to a lot of people. You see on mention various things in the press. I'm not going to mention any specifics, but I think one of the things that we need to do is prove times on the ground. Although we've got very, very high grade and lots of it, some people are swayed more by lots and lots of tons, lots of tons of lower grade. Almost that sort of size matters. We think this project stands on its own 2 feet simply with high grade things. I think we will become even more attractive as we prove up those tons in the ground, which is what we want to do.
Could you comment on the discount economics, because you are selling concentrate, but how much value could you create by selling more pure stuff, and how long would it take to get there?
It's a really good question. I almost dislike the word discount because it implies we're giving something away. We're not. As I said, we sell a concentrate which is crushed rock. There's a long way from crushed rock to finished metals. And a better term, I think, for our concentrate value is payability. We know the metal content of that ore, but the only way you can price what we sell is off the finished product. So you have to sell it for less than the finished product by definition. Roughly, we put this figure in the market, we sell for about a 70% discount. Payability is about 30% of the finished product. If you follow that through, then if we went all the way to separated oxides, we'd be getting 100%. But there are stages along the way, potentially a cylinder would be a mixed carbonate, which will have a discount between 70 and 0. How long it's going to take to get there? Well, we've announced we've got a partnership with an investment company called Technet. They have agreed to fund us for a full DFS on a downstream project. DFS is due to take time. Let's not expect that before the next year. But then the plant will be built pretty good with 2 subject plants.
Thank you very much, Martin Neal, CEO of Rainbow.